Shad here, reporting in again. We just finished defeating these ghoulish cultists in this grotesque room of effigies, and this mound of rotting flesh. We don't find much, but Tulok takes an effigy with him, and we mend our wounds as best we can. We leave Augrel behind again for now, and head through the northwestern door in the library. We find the first room we have in a long time that is brightly lit, small and cozy. There's an ever-burning torch in the chandelier above us, and another locked door. Finding we have the key to this door on us, we enter and find a strange fairy annotating a book with much glee. Attempting to speak with the fairy, it simply turns and attacks with an unnerving amount of rage and bloodlust, threatening us with death in the light. Right away, Tulok is blinded by its magic, and Lady Gilda pulls him from the room. Physics shoots and strikes true, but the fairy blinks out of existence. The combat continues as the party tries everything they can to take down the creature that is now invisible. Gilda covers it in chalk dust, trying to expose its location, but it manages to shake that off too. We have no idea what's next.
You know, I've been thinking
That's a first.
about something. We're gonna start like that, are we?
You
Oh,
filthy animal.
bastard.
Oh, he got you good, you fucker.
He called the shit
That's-
poop.
Man, Scott, you're not usually that quick, but you know, I always think about the metagaming aspect of these games, and you know, these games can be a bit of an escape, but they're not necessarily a hide from reality. We are suspending our disbelief, but our what we know in life, what we know generally, like, is applied to our own lives and our own decisions, and it has to come into the application of making decisions for your characters, and I just like that, blurring that line as much as possible, playing out of your comfort zone, but not making yourself uncomfortable, I think is a really cool part of these games. And the one thing I love about this group in particular, we've been doing this for a while now and talking about it for even more time on top of getting us started. You know, we check in with each other a lot. You know, we are working remotely. As much as three of us are in the same city, we don't really ever see each other, and so working remotely can be really tough. And I just super appreciate, you know, the check-ins and the understanding that we have as a group, and it's why we work so well together, and I think why we have a good energy, so on and so forth. I don't want to get too
I'm about to cry.
but I mean, you know, you know, as much as we are a trope that exists in this medium of just being a bunch of white dudes doing this, you know, we do have our struggles in our lives and our professional careers and whatnot, and it's hard to make this all work. But I've always appreciated the mental health check-in that we often do for each other, and Scott sort of suggested something not dissimilar, apropos of how our lives will affect our decision making in and out of the game. I think we should do a mental health check-in of our characters, which is a much more diverse group than we are. Let it be known. Let's dive into what's going on in people's brains right now, given, you know,
You're asking me what Tulok's mental health is right now.
Right now. Well, I mean, you could be in this moment, or it could be prior to this combat.
Okay, because right
That we're
now
in, right?
it is real bad.
Yeah, real stressed, I imagine. Yeah. I was
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough because I mean they've been crawling through this dungeon. Maybe not he, but I have lost track of where we are with time. I know about 2 dozen episodes ago, you asked us how long we thought we were into the game. And we were about 5 days. And now I have no idea. I mean,
Okay.
if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say 10. Just, you know what? Take that and double it.
Okay.
That being said, I think that he came here in search of answers, but by one side of the token, they're just more questions than answers are being produced. Basically, they haven't found out anything really aside from research about Belcora. And at every step, there's just something: cultists, ghouls, fey creatures, whatever. Like,
Yeah. Been quite the random smattering. Yeah.
yeah. So he's just confused. This grand quest they're on is deadly and disturbing and wild. So he is not having a good time, to be honest. And he's becoming more and more frightened by his own power. I mean, like, he was worried when he was throwing around projectiles with his mind, and now he's summoning undead creatures. So,
I mean, it wasn't all that long ago that we were talking about how you guys had this sort of re-emboldened, now this is your quest, not just a request of Rin, and you had this sort of confidence as a group as you were powering up. But now, are you're saying that Tulok's sliding back a bit, and that he's become a little more worrisome?
I think that, like, it's just become exponentially more serious the farther they go down. Started off with little gremlin guys, no big D, and then it just gets worse and worse. So yeah, I think that as confident as he is with the party and loves everyone with them, and now they have Shad with them, he's feeling good about that, and he knows his power is increasing. It's just getting more and more deadly, and he's fucking blind right now. So that is a bit of a tough pill to swallow. He's getting a little taste of what many other people have to live their lives with, and it can't be easy. So it's tough.
Physic?
2 words come to mind: genuinely distressing. Physic would have, like, he's not in a good spot headspace wise, but I think that has to be, like, expected for somebody that was not a seasoned adventurer going into this awful hellscape of a place. Yeah, so he's persevering as much as he can, but Jesus fucking Christ.
Where do you feel like Physic stands on, like, when you first introduced the character? If I recall correctly, you did say at one point he had this fever dream religious experience, but now he has the godless healing feat, which we kind of covered in the last episode. Where has his brain gone from the start to now? Because, like, that that religious experience doesn't really come into play. Is there something in the background that is, like, sort of transforming that?
I feel like in his mindset, having that religious experience, as you would say, or having that vision that he did, it didn't necessarily bolster his faith in anything. And having seen the depravity of what the world is under this lighthouse, it has not given him more route towards faithfulness. It's given him more than anything. It's given him
Just give him more pause,
more of a bleak outlook towards life in general.
Okay,
so he's
cool.
just he's becoming hardened in a way that there was a bit of an innocence of him coming into this adventure that is slipping away every single room that we go into.
I hope he turns to the dark side. Gilda?
Gilda's complicated, man. I have been a lot of things in my life, but an early 20s woman who's going to live for 600 years is not one of them.
let alone faithful to a god, I am sure.
Yeah. So she's probably my most complex character that I've ever created, and I'm not sure how much I've touched on in her backstory, but to pull up the curtain a little bit, she comes from, like, a staunch staunchly devoted family to Shaylin. Her father and her mother are both like really, really devoted to Shaylin. So she grew up with like this passion for existence and life, and this encouragement of artistic beauty and love and that kind of thing. And when she was injured in the line of duty, it was during her recovery that she pivoted from Shaylin to Aurori, reading. I think she probably just found like a copy of Unbinding the Fetters, which is Aurori's sacred text. And it's through this that she strove to regain perfection and mobility in her leg. Because she, by all rights, like this wound could not have been healed by magic or the magic that was available to her at the time.
So it's a little too far gone for full recovery, you know.
Yeah,
unless you have like a proper like restoration of the limb kind of magic, right?
Yeah. So I think maybe in the future that'll be an option for her, but right now it's, you know, she's coping with coming from this family whose ideals are love and creativity. Even though her father is a high-ranking general in the Andoran army, you know, he follows Shaylin. That creativity is what he brings to the battlefield. That's what helped him ascend in the ranks. And you know, her mother is an instructor and a botanist, so she has spent her whole life respecting life and striving for perfection now for the last few years while she's been recovering for this injury. And she's finally in this place where she can let loose, where she no longer has to respect life because they're facing the undead, they're facing ghouls, they're facing these abominations to these gods that she's devoted to. And she is devoted to Rory now, whereas she converted from Shaylin, so she's no longer devoted to Shaylin at all. But those teachings still stick with her. So she is, first of all, on the first adventure of her life. Like, she spent her young time in school and then as a squire in the Andoran army, in the Golden Legion, tied up with the Andoran army, not far from her home in Andoran. And then she's on like this summer sabbatical where she's, you know, exploring Europe as she's getting her leg fixed. And all of a sudden she finds herself in the midst of this, you know, knowledge and treasure hunt. And I think there's some arrogance of youth coming through there. And I think that's, you know, her drive to help other people and the arrogance of youth is what brought her into this. But now this second level or this third level or whatever level we're on, where it's just ghouls, she's now discovering these powers that she has where she can just wreck house. So I think she's actually like, she's putting on this, she's attempting to put on like this stoic, dry face as, you know, a now promoted member of the Golden Legion. But inside she is just loving every minute of it, being able to unleash and like flex her full power.
Yeah.
So
I kind of love it because she's like she's punching her way through all of this shit like with extreme incredible prowess, but like non-lethally at the same time.
Yeah,
she's not giving in to the dark side. She is, you know, maintaining a level of control, you know, whether it's her choice or not, to just, you know, continue that assault, and get you know, sort of have her cake and eat it too.
Yeah. So mechanically, that is her prerogative. Like, I could take a -2 and do lethal attacks, but it's that, you know, respect for her mother and her father and their way of life with Shaylin, that she doesn't take those lives. But with these undead ghouls, that disrupting rune, or her divine ally, she's just messing shit up.
Yeah.
It's so funny with that juxtaposed to Tulok and Physic, because they are, they're like, it's like, you know, the deeper they go and the more horrifying everything becomes, the less they can handle it in a way, because they both come from backgrounds that have nothing to do with this and are questioning themselves. Whereas Lady Gilda is becoming emboldened by the power and by the evil.
Yeah, by the freedom that the evil allows her to have as both a champion and a champion of Aurori with these ties to Shaylin. And she doesn't want to harm her family or do injustice to either Aurori or the Golden Legion. So she has all these really aggressive loyalties, but she's in this dark, hidden away place. She's like she's at a rave in Berlin for the first time in her life. You know, like let's try everything.
Yeah.
Let's open every door, and that's I'm trying to get that across in the way she's always trying to push forward.
Yeah.
So
you know,
the
she gets
ghouls are
tired.
Molly.
And you know, she gets tired with all these doors and all these options because she just wants to figure it out. She's, like I said, she's very young, and she's going to live theoretically going to live a very long life.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to get that personality juxtaposition out in, you know, when she opens the door and there's another door.
Yeah.
Fuck, there's another door. But when she opens the door and there's a fucking ghoul behind it, yes, please.
Yeah.
So I hope that's coming across subtly in the role play.
Yeah, no, I don't see why it wouldn't be. It's cool how like role playing can force you into subtlety and secrecy, but we don't always want that as storytellers. So it's great to have these little sessions. So props to Scott for bringing it up. You know, this is something that one of our favorite podcasts does as well. Every so often, and it's a good way to check in, and it's why one of the several reasons why I think metagaming is important. It's a part of the experience. You know, it can ruin the experience, but sometimes it's essential as well. So I love it. I love having a bit of perspective. I do my best to try and understand what everyone's going through, but you know, I have no idea at the end of the day. You've all sort of surprised me a little bit here, but your explanations have all made sense as well. I'll tell you what doesn't make sense, though, perhaps, is that this creature has disappeared from your sight. And I don't know if you guys assumed the combat was over, but I can assure you it is not.
I definitely did point to
no.
the field and call that shot. I called planar shift because the chalk fell.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give this to you because I want you to think about it. I want you to think about your actions.
Yeah.
Because teleport and dimension door, you both take with all worn and carried objects, so the chalk dust would not disappear. But planar shift, theoretically, it would.
Yeah.
I mean, why plane shift? Why is plane shift the exception? Why do you think?
I think it's the exception because it's a higher level spell.
I'm going to go ahead and call that a weak argument.
Yeah, it is a weak argument.
Let's be real. Some of the chalk dust falling was just flavor text. So regardless of what spell it used, it vanished and is now going to reappear as it swipes at Tulok's back for what's your AC, Tulok?
20.
Flat-footed?
Oh, flat-footed is -2.
Wit?
18.
Yeah, it's a critical hit.
Oh, fuck off.
Fuck.
We take 18 slashing damage as it claws at you. But that will be the end of its turn. And now we're at Shad, who just hears probably a whimper from Tulok, who is like, you know, probably at his wit's end mentally.
Who's got Shad?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who's playing Shad this week?
I am buying myself some time.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm so glad it's not me right now.
Okay. Shad, with all 3 actions, is going to place a hampering snare in front of the door.
Okay. Rules-wise, can he do that?
Rules is written. There are no rules for putting snares down in combat. According to the boards, there is a 3-action create snare act.
Yep.
And on the boards, most people allow them to place it with those 3 actions. With that 3 action.
Okay. Yeah, because I know there's like two particular builds that are built around snares. There's a lot of controversy, if you will, surrounding them, being a kobold versus being a ranger and or both, and making them efficient. But I'm just gonna go ahead and allow it because we haven't dove into that. No one specialized in it, and fuck it, it's fun. Cool. So that just a 5 foot spot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a 5-foot spot. It is. I looked it up. It's specifically designed as, or specifically worded as, any creature that moves into the space.
Okay, and what does it do exactly?
It becomes difficult terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a sticky goo that like essentially explodes out, making it difficult terrain.
Oh, cool.
Including its movement into the triggering snare, and it lasts for 1d4 rounds.
Awesome. I'm totally exploding goo sounds like a good catch-all to me. So yeah, hell yeah.
When it explodes, it covers a 10 foot by 10 foot square.
Nice. Okay, so it's gonna hit more than just the person that triggers it.
Yeah, but it'll sticky goo will theoretically it'll mark the creature as well as keep its movement within check. So
okay, cool.
Realistically,
is there a DC to it for like a reflex save?
I don't see one, but I will get back to you about that.
Okay. Well, it's Lady Gilda's turn.
Yeah. Lady Gilda is going to shove Tulak. Well, she saw him place it, so theoretically, he can free action point it out to her. So her first action is going to be to shove Tulak.
She's literally going to reach around that corner again and actually shove him this time.
Yep.
Give him a push. Okay.
She wants to push him into the wall by the corner so she doesn't pull him into the hampering snare.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and roll that check.
That is a 13.
Given Tulak is blinded and has very little knowledge of what's going on, I would say the DC should be lower for this. That, and I mean, it's arguable that he's a willing creature, so you don't need to achieve something, but he also doesn't know you're doing it, so that's sort of like a bit of a middle ground there.
Yeah.
Let me just...
If it's a fail, I'm going to use my hero point to root.
Sure. There are adjustments to a DC based on difficulty that I can quickly make. So assuming this is just, we go with a normal, I'm going to call this a very easy, which means it would be a -5 to the DC. So what's your, is it Fortitude, is it?
Yeah, it's Fortitude.
What's your Fortitude DC there, Tulak?
My Fortitude is 19.
Okay, that would make it a 14.
Okay, I will use my hero point to reroll that because that's a 2 on the die. You
barely failed it. Oh, man. I was being generous there, too.
Yeah, that's an 18.
Okay, 18. That'll do it. So that you shove Tulak just one 5-foot square south out of the way of the doorway.
Part of that success means she can move 5 feet stride after it. So she will... I don't know if you'll let me move around that corner.
You can't step around a corner, no.
Okay.
So you're going to have to get into this square of the hampering.
But isn't the snare there?
I don't necessarily need to set it off.
Yeah. That's why I was asking about the DC, because I was thinking about maybe making you make an acrobatics check versus this DC to bypass it like a tumble through. And lowering the DC because you know it's there.
What if I just take the jump action instead?
Sold.
Or the leap action.
Sold. Okay. Done. That's exactly it. You could literally just like shove the fast rock aside for a second, just do a quick hop, and that would all be legit. We don't have to go through all those numbers.
So first action is a shove, second action is a leap, third action will be a strike with the hand wraps.
Oh boy.
She is tired of this shit. That is a 17.
That's a miss.
Because apparently I can't roll higher than a 10 today.
Only Physic rolled higher than a 10, I think, last week or last episode.
Yeah, that was a 7 on the die. Oh, yeah. Out of my 3 rolls so far, 2 of them have been 7s, and 1 of them has been a 2. So it's coming.
All right.
3 natural 20s in a row, listeners.
Well, that comes to Tulak, who has just been wrangled again, attacked from the back, doesn't quite know where his Festrog is, or,
Yeah, so the last thing that he told the Festrog to do was get rid of the flame. So it jumped up, grabbed the torch, and so he will sustain the spell.
Mm-hmm.
And then with his next 2 actions, he is going to cast invisibility on himself.
Okay.
So he winks out.
Nice.
Going with him will be his light, at least. And then the Festrog will take the torch that's in his hand and shove it up through one of the holes in his rib cage of decomposing skin and flesh and just bury it up inside of his stomach.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So while there may be some light in the gaps in his ribs, potentially.
But like effectively reducing it to at least dim light, if not bright. Yeah.
If not, completely gone.
Sick. This, unless Shad has his ever-burning torch out, that plunges him into darkness, essentially, other than Lady Gilda's light.
Well, interesting now, because last episode we did say that Shad had his sword in one hand and the crossbow in the other. So
It's true.
who knows?
Yeah, he's been fighting through Tulok's light and Gilda's light and the light of the Shen.
Okay. I mean, Lady Gilda extends far enough, I think, through that doorway that I think we're okay.
As the
tight
light
quarters.
spell, so it would extend 40 feet.
Yeah, super tight quarters.
Can you jump and keep moving as one action, or do you have to jump as one action then move?
No, it's jumping is it's a leap action, and it is part of your movement. But
Okay.
there is
Or
like
you can long jump.
or you
jump
can
is
long
two
jump and you
actions.
high jump as well, which are also built into the leap action. It just depends on what you're doing and how much build up you have. You have to have like usually a minimum build up of like 10 feet.
Because he just wants to jump over the snare and into.
They're
Okay.
both in the chat, and I don't know if Tulok could possibly know that the snare is there.
It's not Tulok. Tulok is done. This is Festrog.
I also don't
Yeah.
know if the Festrog could know if the snare is there.
It is that's a difficult one.
Well, how come Gilda knew it was there?
Because Gilda was standing right next to Shad and paying attention to that direction.
But so was the Festrog, right? He's right
Festrog
there.
was
Wasn't
in
the
Festrog
Festrog
was in
hanging
middle
from the chandelier?
hiding the chandelier.
I mean, he was holding it at the end of his last turn, and then at the beginning of this turn started.
Okay.
Hey, that's up to you.
Is the Festrog trained in perception?
Intriguing question. He's got +6.
So one
If
might
it's
assume.
not trained in perception, Shad snares are undetectable.
And it is not a mindless creature, although debatable as a summoned. But standardly is not.
Oh no, wait, sure, it's not an expert in crafting. No, okay, so yeah, so the DC of the snare is 18. It's his crafting DC, used as a stealth DC. His craft is a +8 to craft snare, so it's a DC 18.
Okay. So you want to move the Festrog leaping through the doorway, essentially, right? Here's what I'm gonna rule is that I'm gonna roll a perception check to meet that DC 18. You said, James.
Yeah. DC 18.
Regardless of the result I roll, you are moving the creature. So if I
Done.
roll to meet it or exceed it, then it notices and leaps over. If I don't, then it triggers it. Cool.
Okay.
22.
Nice. Let's go Festrog, baby!
Nice.
Should be,
Sorry,
mascot, sports team.
it sounded really shitty. I think what I said there sounded really shitty. I didn't mean that, Scott. I really want you to do this. I also just know snares are fucking badly written.
They're
Yeah, no worries.
unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get into it and you're like, they're not complicated at all. They're just not fleshed out. It's one of those.
So Festrog notices the trap, springs over it, past Lady Gilda. Diagonally, it hops up onto the desk up onto all fours in like a really disgusting way. And then back down on the floor and then north. So it is now flanking the Fey creature with Lady Gilda, and Tulok is invisible in the bottom left-hand corner.
I love this because the Festrog has an ability called On All Fours as well. Right. That just like extends its movement speed and stuff. It's great.
And that is
All right, is the Festrog attacking?
no, that's
Or
it,
is that
dude.
That's it. Okay.
You bury the thing in itself for one, and then move for the
All
second.
right. All right, that brings us to Physic.
Physic will just take a pot shot at Shimmergren from where he's standing, which would be lesser cover, shooting through Lady Gilda.
I believe this is your third shot from the alchemical fire. So.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
There is no further alchemical item.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah, I did 3 of
okay.
them already. So just a straight crossbow bolt, 28 to hit.
Oh man, yep, that hits.
That's 4 piercing damage.
Okay.
So he's gonna take 15-foot stride northeast to be just to the east of Shad, and for his third action, he will draw his healer's tools.
All right, that's him.
That's him.
Top of the order, Shimmergren, who is going to 5-foot fly airborne at this point. South. And attempt an attack on the invisible Tulok, having seen him disappear. Roll the DC 11 flash check real quick. Misses. And he goes for a second one. 2 natural 8s in a row.
Good,
Misses.
you jerk. There's 2 perfectly visible people right there.
Oh, I wish I could tell you why I'm doing this. I have a good reason. Shad.
Because it can see me. You...
I have a great reason for it. I'm not joking.
You.
It's not just me picking on you, Scott, I promise.
Shadow's going to stride so he's opposite of Physic, each flanking the hampering snare, and with his second 2 actions, he is going to ready an attack if Shimmergrin comes through the door.
Nice. Cool. Lady Gilda.
Gilda's first action is going to be... Is there a taunt? There's not a taunt, eh?
Would it not be like a make an impression?
Not really. I don't think so.
Making impressions of diplomacy, it's not really what I wanted. Okay. She will strike out at Shimmergrim with her punch gloves. That is a 19 to hit.
That's a miss.
Okay. And then she will, with her second action, leap over the trap. And with a third action, she will attempt something she never does, which is a demoralize, because she wants this thing to move away from Tulok.
Okay.
You stupid wings, why don't you? I need you to. Stupid wings. We're in here now. Stupid
We're
wings.
Here now.
For the record, James always likes to roll first before role-playing that.
Yeah, that was a natural 1, listeners, for a 3.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that was funny. Yeah. Big ol' fail. Big ol' fail. Luckily, no critical failure effect for that. So,
Luckily, yeah.
that's you and Tulok. You're invisible, but this creature's been trying to swipe at you. Probably felt some of the wind of its claws coming at you. You don't feel safe, that's for sure.
I'm not super stoked by this.
Yeah. All I can say is that you were lucky you only failed that check on the spell.
Okay. Physic? Oh my god, I keep calling myself Physic.
Aspirational goals, I get it.
Tulok is going to pull out a healing potion lesser for 1 action. Drank it for second action. And that is going to give him 16 health back. I will take that for sure.
Yep.
And then we'll sustain the spell with his last action. And then it will be Festrog, and Festrog will attack with his jaws at this piece of fucking garbage on wings. Misses with a 12. But oh yeah, okay. We'll just attack again with the claw. Map -4. 17.
Oh, nice.
Useless.
This
All right.
creature is
That's it.
not an easy one.
Well, yeah, when I can't see it and do shit like
Yeah.
magic missile and telekinetic...
Right?
I can't even speak anymore.
You
Move
can
on.
use the seek
You could-
action to
you-
try and find it, though.
That is extremely true, but and I considered that, but I decided not to. 'cause I
You
wanted
also
that
couldn't
potion.
speak before, so don't say any more. That's ridiculous. Physic, what do you got?
So Physic would take a 15-foot stride through the doorway. He would use his second action. Fuck, this sucks, man. I hate this thing so much. Second action, he's going to toss a Tanglefoot bag, which I don't think I've used a Tanglefoot bag before.
Well, I mean, bear in mind this creature is flying. I don't know if it applies or not. Just throwing it out there. I
Tangle
genuinely
wing
don't know.
bag.
Yeah. It's got feet.
Oh, it says, yeah, bag full of sticky substance.
And the creature
Okay.
flying via wings has its wings tangled. Yeah, it
Nice.
still applies.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
escape DC is 17.
So you toss this at the creature.
Yes.
Roll your to hit.
Oh, a natural 1 on that. That's pretty good, right?
Oh
no.
boy, that's a rough turn.
Yep, that's no bueno.
That's Spanish, listeners. I'm done. I'm done.
Portuguese.
Move, draw,
Alright,
throw. I'm done.
But it's like a direct hit. It's not a radius thing, is it? No, it's not. Okay. All right. So yeah, you just miss.
Yeah,
Sadly, and waste a tangle foot bag.
I'm just glad we all get to hang out. It's fun.
That's where you said that almost every other episode. That's your turn.
Yeah.
Top of round 6.
Tulok might be going down here, guys.
It is going to continue its attempt. Another natural 8 on the first flat check.
Yes.
But a meet to beat on the second. So he's going to come in with 20 to hit.
Yeah, that'll do it.
You're still flat-footed.
Yep.
And that's 8 slashing damage.
Copy that.
And you take additional 7 precision damage while you're flat-footed.
Flat-footed, yeah.
And it tries again and misses. It's doing its damnedest to bring you down. Shad.
Shad's first action is going to be the interact action to take down that snare because it's clearly not working.
It was a great idea, but strategy has changed.
Yeah, people keep entering that fucking hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He will then stride and reload his crossbow.
Okay. Gilda.
Gilda will move past Physic into the room because apparently we're doing a fight here now.
In retrospect,
I'm so fucking mad at you guys for entering that room.
No, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though.
mad.
In retrospect, it probably would have made a little more sense to have Shad delay and then pull Tulok in and then put the trap down. But you didn't do it in that order. You put the trap down
we
and
probably
then
should
Gilda
have
went
just
in.
not gone in the room. I'm pretty sure is exactly what should have happened.
Well, hindsight is 2020.
Well, I also didn't expect it to be able to see Physic or see Tulok. So
It doesn't see Tulok.
The
It
idea,
just watched him wink out and is trying that square, right?
Well, that's not the impression that Gilda's getting from this. She just sees it attacking a square and blood popping out like a reptile in Mortal Kombat 2. Second action is going to be a grapple against this thing.
Grapple, okay.
That is a 23.
Versus Fort, or is it reflex?
This will be fortitude as well.
23. That is a success.
Okay. You are grabbed until the end of your next turn unless you move or escape.
Unless I escape, yeah. Until the end of your next turn.
Yes, sorry,
Grabbing
unless
is
I move
power.
or it's escape.
But if you want to extend beyond your next turn, you have to use an action to maintain.
It's a free action to maintain, right?
No.
Okay. No, sorry, not it is a single action to maintain. Like it's sustain, it's not another roll, is that correct?
More or less, yeah. So it'll last until the end of your next turn, but if you want it to last beyond the end of your next turn, you do have to spend an action to make sure it does. And then
yes, that's fine. Then she's going to, with a map -4, just try and punch this thing, because I got to roll higher than a 7. Nope, I rolled exactly a 7 with a natural 1. Use my last hero point.
Okay. Gonna roll higher
That's
to 7.
12.
Exactly a 7.
It's lucky you're a clever motherfucker and keep getting hero points.
Well, that's why I keep spending them. That's a 12 to hit, so no bueno.
Oh my god. And honestly, that was going to be one of those moments where I feel like was going to feel like I have to rule that you accidentally lose your grip on a natural one. Those would be rare, but oh man. Hero point well used. Tulok. What do you got, buddy?
All right.
This is tough.
Tulok will maintain or sustain the spell. And then he would like to... Okay, so I need to roll a flat check to attack, correct?
Correct. No. I mean, Tulok does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
okay.
what
Yes.
I said?
Yeah, sorry. You need to, you need to roll a flat check. I think you know where it's at because it's been trying to attack you. It did hit you, so you
Okay.
know where it's located. So we can forego the seek.
Ooh, okay, so that's an 11. Meet to beat.
Yeah, that's a beat to beat.
And then you, sir, as Tulok reaches out towards the head of this thing. I don't know if it's going to hit that or not, but you should roll me a will save.
Okay, pretty good at this one. 24.
Ah, you just beat it. Okay, touch of idiocy fails.
Okay.
But it is Festrog, and Festrog will attack with Jaws. Critical is a 29 to hit.
Oh boy, yep.
Has 18 points of damage.
Yeah,
Oh, big
boy.
hit. Big hit.
Nice.
And then since this is a living creature, correct?
It is.
Okay, so it will feast on you for one action. So it tears into the creature's flesh and gulps down voraciously, dealing 1d4 slashing damage to the creature and gaining temporary hit points equal to the damage dealt.
Nice.
And that is max damage for 4.
Okay.
This Festrog, however, hasn't been hit, but it's still fucking fun.
But it's temporary HP. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
can tag that
Boom.
on. There's a little,
Nice.
there's a little slot for it. Nice. Okay. First time the Festrog's been more than a meat shield. Physic. This creature's looking rough.
Yeah,
And it is grabbed by Lady Gilda.
but first action will be to. Sorry, maybe I'm unclear with Tulok being invisible. Am I able to potentially like just reach out and?
Touch of Idiocy is probably a hostile action, eh?
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
True that.
That means you
would have lost
He
my
has
invisibility.
reappeared in front of you.
Okay, perfect. So that will be the use of my healer's gloves.
Okay.
Should be 1d8, I believe. 2d6 plus 7, sorry.
Big difference.
Yeah,
Yep.
so 18 HP back to Tulok.
Oh man, that's near
Yeah.
max.
Draw my short sword and attack with that.
Oh, okay. We're gonna draw the short sword. It's been a while since you did that.
Yeah, it famously has done so well before now.
All right. I forgot you're out of bolts, eh? That sucks.
Well, I'm out of bolts that aren't infused with
Aren't the
light.
shining bolts. Yeah.
Which
is hilarious.
Seems like an
Oh
off,
my God.
like the only enemy we've encountered that would be immune to this.
Is benefiting from light. Yeah.
All right,
All right, swing your little short sword there, Goblin Man.
21 to hit. This.
Yeah, that hits.
Oh my God! No way. If this kills him.
I can't believe Physic has done the most damage to this creature of anybody.
Get
Other
it,
than
Physic, get
Festrog,
it.
I think Physic's the only one that's done
two damage, 2 slashing.
2 damage. Okay. It's
Sorry,
still
no, 2
alive.
piercing, not slashing.
Okay. It's still alive, but it is worse for wear.
That's my turn, but
Okay.
you know he feels pretty chuffed about that one.
Oh jeez. It's honestly just going to it's going to attempt to free itself actually. Escape check versus your athletics DC.
DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is 21.
Okay. Fails. It tries twice, and in its scramble, oh no. It's starting to panic at this point. You can tell, Gilda, yourself. It's squirming and fighting and squirming and fighting. Turns to try and strike you with the claw, although, no, I'm pretty sure escape checks have the attack trait.
Yep.
Yep, they do.
So-
it's a map minus
Yeah.
times 3.
Yeah, it's
and
gonna.
you need to do. You need a flat check as well, I believe.
Do I for being grabbed?
If you manipulate action.
Okay.
So, is it just raw dogging me? Like
It's
just
yeah,
bad
it's
hand
just it's starting
striking
to panic, and it's rock dog. Yeah. It's 21 to hit, though.
21 is a meat to beat.
Ooh, and it manages to slash you in the face for 8 slashing damage. And that brings us to Shad, who might take full advantage of the situation, perhaps.
Yeah, Shad will step. So he's got a clear line of sight. Fire his crossbow, which is a 28 to hit.
That hits.
For 7 points of piercing damage.
Describe how this creature dies.
Shad just does like this dart move where he kind of peeks around the corner, sees the guild has got it grabbed, Physics got healer's tools. He steps into the doorway and then steps out of the doorway in one fluid movement, like turns around in a semicircle like Neo from the Matrix, fires a crossbow bolt, and then is all of a sudden on the other side of the doorway. He doesn't even know he's killed this thing yet.
I love it.
Well, that sucked.
That was I have to reveal it. I feel like its intentions, if you guys are interested.
Yeah.
It has an insane option. I could have used it earlier, but I chose not to. But it grants this insane option to if this creature brings someone down in battle to the dying condition, can automatically use a summon spell, particularly summon Fae, and it would use it at 4th level, meaning if someone went down, it would have turned into a CR5 creature with a CR4 creature or CR3 creature attached to the encounter. So, like, if Tulach went down, the death danger for the whole party would have dramatically increased.
It's like an exponential death spiral.
Like, it's a massive one. Yeah, and that's what it was trying to do. It was trying to get you down so it can use your sudden dying condition as like a component to like in one action use summon Fae.
Holy fuck, man! If you didn't go invisible, you would have gotten absolutely fucked on one of those turns. And
right, exactly. Plus, it has sneak attack, so the fact that you were blinded meant it was doing more damage. But if you hadn't gone invisible, that was the most clutch shit. Insane, absolutely insane. That because the danger of that encounter can skyrocket really fast. In any case, they've been logged in my head, but I can't quite remember why. But I'm quite sure James has got both deserve a hero point, so just take them.
Oh. Now that brings me.
Oh, the chalk for sure. That had to be one.
That brings me to my other point where I should have just used one of my 2 hero points at the beginning to re-roll that save, and I'm so bad at using hero points. I'm
the same. I never remember when I have one or not, you know.
They're right at the top of our sheet.
They're right there.
I just burn them. I
also remember Shad has his own.
No, Shad used it.
Did he use it?
Yeah, immediately. The next session he used it. I think it's in my notes.
Anyway, Shimmergrin down. This horribly evil little insectile Fey satyr thing. Dead. Brutal.
Gilda goes and sits down in one of these armchairs.
Tulach has his back pressed up against the wall, and he's just like, "Is it dead? Is it dead? Creature, attack it! Is it dead? What is going on?" And because everything just kind of all the noise kind of drains down a little bit, and the Festrog just grabs it by the legs and just smashes it against the wall because he's being commanded to continue attacking it.
Yes.
And then as he realizes that it's probably dead, he slumps to the ground and is just sitting there in his own darkness.
You just hear everyone kind of like heavy breathing, and the Festrog just like whack, 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 just like slamming it against the floor of the table.
And as he slumps down, the Festrog just loses its own life and slumps to the ground in the opposite corner of the room. I think Tulach, honestly, is just starts to whimper a little bit, like he's pretty distraught right now. Almost died. Managed to pull out a healing potion. Like, he's ending the combat at almost full health thanks to Physic. But I think that was a pretty tough one for him. So he's just slumped on the ground, kind of holding his eyes.
Can he see again?
In about 20
I mean,
30 seconds.
About 30, less than 30 seconds.
40
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 20 seconds, suddenly his vision comes back. Yeah. But there is that moment where it's like he's not sure. Everyone goes quiet, and the Vestrog is just ripping it apart as he continues to tell it what to do.
After Tulok regains his vision, he kind of is wiping at his eyes. One, because he can start to see again, and the bright light is kind of blinding him a little bit. But two, just because he has some tears on his cheeks, and he's just trying to brush them away to put on a little bit of a hard look. And he stands up and just looks over the creature.
Yeah, viewing it for the second time since you first saw it.
A little bit of a different sight this time.
Yeah. Slumped, battered, bruised, beaten, destroyed. As the Vestrog fades away, there's another ever-burning torch on its person that was shoved up in its ribs. That's why I wanted to give you a hero point. That was the one. Fuck, that was good.
I couldn't figure out where to put it. So, yeah, Vestrogs are metal as fuck.
So it's in that little loot box there. Lady Gilda, you plop yourself down in the chair.
Yeah, right? She's feeling pretty defeated after that combat. She thought she was so clever, attempting strategy, and it failed miserably. And then every swing she took missed. Like, she didn't land a single blow on this creature. Her strategy didn't work. Like, she just feels deflated.
This is like the exact opposite encounter you were just talking about earlier, where she was like bringing down undead and ghouls and shit like that. And this was not one of those. And this really flubbed her.
Yeah, and I might be bleeding into it a little bit, but like there was no cohesion in this battle. It was so chaotic from a party that's usually a really well-oiled machine. And I don't know if I'm projecting yet, or if that's something she's even had time to think about. But Tulok going blind right off the bat just fucked the entire dynamic of this encounter. I'm frustrated, and she's frustrated because we had no.
If he critically failed, it would have been permanent blindness.
Oh,
just throwing that out there. Permanent.
And we have no,
which can be recovered at this level with a reasonably low level spell, but you'd have to go seek it out.
And we have no tools to deal with that. We had no tools to deal with blindness. We had no tools to deal with invisibility, and
I didn't have darkness.
It had an ability called Blend with Light, and its own trigger is when it uses its own move action. And as long as it's in an area of bright light, it can just turn invisible.
Yeah,
and that's why I asked about Tulok's own light source, because that's it. It also had the ability to dimension door to another place of bright light. If you hadn't taken down the chandelier, or if you had taken down the ever-burning torch in the previous room and everyone moved in, it couldn't have escaped you, because that's like sort of the strategy. It would have just blipped to the other room using the ever-burning torch. So like light was a seriously appropriate mechanic to this. Not to mention the fact that it has its own range attack that it never used that could make you a light source.
Yeah.
If it hit.
I mean, Gilda can't fight in the dark, so she's always got to have her light going.
This is a creature that's really dangerous at range. But you're in tight quarters, so you're all right. Sort of.
She's just taking a breather, feeling defeated, like really defeated for the first time in a long time. And Shad will be investigating this fountain of Nimbeloth.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly carved in the same iconography, but there's nothing out of the ordinary that he can find, other than that this whole room seems to be magically infused. Tulok quickly pick up on that.
Yeah,
that the water keeps running. There's incense constantly going. The ever-burning torch in the ceiling. Even the chairs seem to be well protected by magic, as if this room was meant to be permanently comfortable at all times.
Tulok walks in and is just trying to put his own fears out of his mind, and he sees Lady Gilda slumped in the chair, and he walks up and picks up the book that the creature was holding as he kind of takes a knee beside Gilda and says, "Well, that was not our best work, was it? I'm glad that we all lived, and I've regained my sight, but not my composure, I could say. do you think you could do me a favor and take a look at this? And he just hands the book to Gilda to kind of give her a job or something to do, you know?
Yeah, keep her busy.
Yeah, and then as he passes that to her, he's going to stand up and just start searching the room to keep himself busy.
As you hand that to Lady Gilda, she kind of looks down and re-notices the quill ? That Shimmergrin was using. It is in fact it's basically this like pen, this quill that has this long curving feather that is very sturdy. There's a lot of structural integrity. It's not a proper feather at all. It is very sickle-like, as I said before, and it's very solid.
So, because Tulak really wanted to look at the book himself, but he's not really good at
Mhm.
consoling people that much. So he was just trying to figure out what he could do for Lady Gilda, though he really wants to look at that book. So maybe as a side, as the next best option, he starts looking at that quill as he hands her the book.
She
Okay.
probably, I mean, she'll open it, but I have my doubts that she even speaks the language that it's written in.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool too. Like,
I mean, the one thing that stands out right away to everybody is that it is a language that no one speaks, but it is a script that you've seen before. A script you've seen on the Hall of Portraits on the first level, when it was scratched into the plaque, I think, or the stone under the image of Belcora. It is the language of Aklo. But not
no,
able to
and
speak
I'm
it or read it.
out of spell slots for comprehend language. What's with this quill? Can I inspect it?
Yeah, I mean it's like it's quite sizable and sturdy. It is very sickle-like and it is magical. So you can roll me a sweet magic check if you like.
I will. Does anyone want to aid
Yeah, I'll take an aid on that. What do you
occultism?
sorry, I just had to hang up on Foundry.
I rolled a 28 anyway.
Yeah,
So.
well, fuck it.
Yeah, this is a magic item known as a Word Reaper.
Ooh.
It's a +1 sickle that is basically engraved to look like a feather. And the wooden handle has a pen nib at its base, operating like a quill. You can basically use the handle as a quill, and the ink never runs out. Also, using 3 actions as an interact action once per day, you can use the Word Reaper to inscribe the words read by, and your name inside a non-magical literary work, such as a non-magical book, scroll, or play. And you immediately gain cursory knowledge of the literary work as though you had skimmed it for 5 minutes.
Are there any caveats on that?
Non-magical is the most
Do
important
you
caveat.
have to know the language?
That I would say would be the most important caveat, because you could just write it into this fucking book.
Yeah.
As it reads, that's the only caveat that I can see.
Okay, well, Tulak is going to take it, and he walks over and sits down next to Lady Gilda and motions to take the book from her, and he will write.
Before he does that, I'd like to do a society check to decipher the title.
Sure. We've kind of gone down this road before.
Yeah, it's 1 minute per page, so it won't be in any language. It must be in a language you can read, though the GM may attempt to decipher a text written in an unfamiliar language using society.
I would like to
Okay.
aid using
Yeah.
bookbinding lore. Come on, man.
That's a 20.
No.
I've never been more angry than you saying no to that.
Yeah, come on, man.
That was good. No. How does binding a book make you read a language? That's ridiculous.
Maybe he's seen a lot of books and... All right, whatever. Fuck you. Okay, we're good. We're good.
No.
I respect you, but I don't.
No. That's
I got a
ridiculous.
20 to decipher the title.
Yeah. You pick up on the title being something about ways or a road or a route. But also relating to something that is like that wriggles like a worm or a snake. But that's all you can discern.
What the worm knows. Potentially. Tulok will right into this. Read by Sage Tulok.
I think this is by the Beatles, The Long and Winding Road.
More of a fan of Wings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you write read by Tulok in this with your newfound item. And you can tell that Lady goes on the right track.
It is by the Beatles.
No. You can't discern, the language and what the details are, but what you do quickly glimpse is that it is filled with grisly descriptions and illustrations that all seem to point towards ritual sacrifice in particular. And a lot of the annotations written by Shimmergren seem to be lauding and applauding and enjoying and adding to the grisliness of these rituals.
Yes, this book is quite evil in nature. I can discern that it talks about ritual sacrifice, and Shimmergrin sure was enjoying it, judging by the annotations. Such an evil creature itself. There is no information in this that will help us at this point, but I shall take it. Maybe Morty will like it.
Does Shad find anything as he's searching through the room, specifically the said fountain?
Nothing in the fountain. Nothing special about it other than that it seems to be magically constantly like flowing and whatnot. But there are a bunch of books on the shelf, some of which appear on Morlibin's list. There's one bulk worth of Morlibin's books there. There's also a book that stands out called Ineffable Hauntings. You're quick to understand, or at least Tulok would be, that it contains a formula for the ritual Create Undead, specifically for poltergeists. It also contains a detailed academic analysis of the ghostly weapon spell. And this would allow an arcane or occult spellcaster to retrain this spell with only 1 day of downtime, which is significantly faster.
Ooh, interesting.
Pretty fucking dope. Spend a day and you can just learn how to create poltergeist or ghostly weapon.
Create Undead, as we discussed before, versus Animate Dead. It's a very different thing. Create Undead is a ritual that is evil. It has the evil trait.
Yeah.
Even.
Gilda would not fuck with that.
It is something that... But no, Gilda wouldn't abide by it. That's a hard line in the sand. But you do have the formula for it, should you want to use it. But otherwise, ghostly weapon. I don't know if you ever considered that, Tulok, but you could retrain. Even as a spontaneous caster, you could retrain that in 1 day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have 3rd level spells yet, so...
For me and the listeners, can you define retraining as a spellcaster?
Yeah, I mean, retraining...
So you can retrain a spell or change a spell on your list when you gain a new level, I believe. And so maybe this would allow you to do it not at that time. Other than that, I don't know.
So retraining in general allows you to retrain almost anything. But what you retrain is the baseline for what kind of time it takes. So if you want to retrain a single feat, it's less time than, say, retraining a whole class feature. So if you were like let's go with a rogue, that's a ruffian, but you wanted to retrain into a thief, that would take way more time because you're removing a core part of your class, but it is possible. And so same idea, like you can retrain a spell. Not all casters just have a full availability to their repertoire or their spell list that they can just redo every day like a cleric can. So for those who can't, they have this option to retrain. They can just sit down, meditate, and do whatever it is they need to do, go through some sort of ritual process to reestablish a different power within their bloodline, let's say with a sorcerer. And this significantly shortens the time. Like a class feature could take up to 4 months, for example.
Cool.
So having a formula for understanding how this magic works, and the only caveat that's listed is that, you know, you're an arcane or occult spellcaster. There's nothing to do with prepared or spontaneous. So he could use that as part of his, say, a meditation or some such to sort of redirect his power.
Pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty neat.
Okay. Whenever we're ready, we do our door thing at this door.
That's the southern door.
Door
to the south.
Yeah, there are 2 doors in this reading room, and one to the south, one to the north.
We have so far traveled this episode 15 feet at the most.
All right, so do we hear anything from the door?
Very little.
No traps.
You hear nothing?
From Shad?
No traps. No nothing.
Pop magic from Tulok?
Nope.
Pop.
You crack a door to nothing but a broken iron stool and a well-used whetstone that occupies this otherwise stark and bare room. But there is another door to the south.
We move quickly through the room to the other door.
Nothing. Crack the door. Staircase leading down.
Ooh, boy.
Deeper into the dungeon. The mega dungeon.
Yeah, I don't think we're ready for that.
Unless we go down there and we level up, and then we just come straight back up. I agree. Tulok closes the door.
It's not how this works.
I was going to say I'll go down.
Perhaps we should scout to the north first to cover our bases. We have many more doors here.
Okay. Let's go through the routine again. Trap check.
Defend and Shad, unless I say otherwise, we'll be taking the avoid.
And I
notice.
Same.
All right. North door. Nothing detected. You crack it open. And you have a bathtub and a commode in a room that is surprisingly clean. Thanks to Narki's map, there is an obligatory rubber duck sitting in the bathtub.
Amazing.
That's great.
And Tulok detects magic.
All right. I would like to search.
Magic duck?
It's the duck. They have an unusual duck made of rubber here. I'm not gonna lie, I made a little homebrew action here. Just slightly. I couldn't help but take advantage.
I'm gonna roll occult on this.
Okay.
I roll a 14, and therefore nothing happens.
Yeah, you don't know.
I hand it to Physic. This might be something that you would enjoy, Physic.
And Physic will do the same check, I guess. Physic rolled a 27 on occultism.
Yeah, that'll do it. This is a rubber duck. This is a modified magic item. This is a modified magic item based off of the pyrite rat that you guys are semi-familiar with. But basically, it's a squishy duck that is it's a duck-shaped bath toy that is 3 inches tall and 4 inches long. And yes, I googled how big rubber ducks are.
Nice.
When you activate
nice
the toy,
choice of wording there.
It turns into a flesh and blood hadrosaurid. You can use an action that follows. The rubber duck is consumed as a material component in the activation, and the hadrosaurid persists for 1 minute. So it is a one-time use. That's a big difference between this and the pirate rat. Is a 2-action concentrate manipulate action to transform the bath toy, and it will turn into said hadrosaurid. But you are required to spend an action to give it its 2 actions, and it gains no reactions. So it's pretty standard for a summoned creature, although anyone in the group can use it.
Oh, so it's like it's a proper
Hadrosaurid. It's worth pointing
Hadrosaurid.
out that the Hadrosaurid is a CR4 creature that is huge in size.
Oh, Hadrosaur. I thought you were saying...
It's a proper Hadrosaur, which is the duck-billed dinosaur.
It Yeah, Physic will turn that duck over in his hands a couple times and then look at the others like, hey, well,
So
your classic rubber summoning duck for getting a dinosaur in the room. Any takers?
I feel like you'd enjoy that, Physic.
I don't not enjoy it already.
classic.
I love the idea of Physic being in like a bubble bath, accidentally setting it off.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking hilarious.
Steven Spielberg, eat your hair out.
Was there anything on Shimmergrin?
No.
As Tulok walks past the desk, which his limp body is sitting on, he looks at it and just like a look of sheer anger just crosses his face, but disappears almost as immediately, and he carries out of the room. And he continues to the most northern door in the main hallway in the library.
Okay. Very cautiously and carefully. Shad detects nothing at the door. It is not locked.
Tulok gives Gilda the nod.
Still taking the defend action, she opens the door.
Leads to a narrow hallway. Extends about 15 feet ahead. To the right, there is another door, and to the left, it seems to lead down. Another
Shad
hallway.
will scout this out while Gilda stays behind.
Okay. The left hallway extends an additional 40 feet. There is a 5-foot door at the end of the hall, but also another 5-foot door somewhere near the middle.
Tulok follows behind Shad, also avoiding notice.
Physic is scouting both ahead and behind and coming behind Tulok.
Let's just take the first here, Tulok says in a low whisper.
Okay. Same for the eastern door there?
Yeah.
Check for traps. Hear nothing. But the door is locked.
How locked?
Very locked. Even more locked than the last one. That required multiple checks. It is a much sturdier lock indeed.
Could Physic attempt a lockpick on it?
Please do. Tulok will provide guidance.
Yep.
So you get a
Shad
+1.
will aid with a 24.
Physic rolled a 24, so with the 8, it would be a 25.
And with the guidance, 26.
The first tumbler
Oh, shit.
comes free.
Oh, multiple thievery checks to be able to pick this lock, huh?
Well, let's give it a
That's what he
shot.
said, yeah.
I also can aid with
Yep.
thievery, so let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Go ahead with the aid.
26.
18, so no dice.
Let's get a +1.
91.
Oof.
That's quite bad.
That's not
Because
good.
That's
fair
bad
means-
for everybody. involved, yeah.
You break your tools. You can repair them, or purchase replacement picks. Otherwise, you'll have to use a new set. Although I think you guys have multiple.
Yeah,
sets.
Shad has a set, and I have
Yeah.
a set.
So I mean, straight up
Um,
delete your thieves tools from your inventory.
Fucking, put less bulk
You've
on
broken
me, I
them.
guess.
Yeah.
He is a crafting character, so
Oh,
you
yeah, that's
don't
fair, that's fair.
delete them.
Just like
Yeah, you could
Just
fix
Yeah,
it.
remember
hold
that
on.
they're-
Do
they are
they retain the same bulk when broken?
yeah.
Yeah.
How sturdy looking is this door?
About as sturdy as the last one that you were considering doing this to, but you had the key.
Tulok moves up the hall and down the other hall to provide some cover leading towards the two doors, and turns to Gilda and says, "Do you think we should break this door down?"
Can you describe the door to me?
It's made of wood. Well and sturdy though. It's not swollen like the above levels. So it's pretty solid. But it's wood.
But there's no like iconography on it or anything?
Nope.
Why don't we give Shad a shot at the lock and see what happens? If this fails, then I don't really see an alternative. I'll go up and take a look at the other two doors, see if they look as intensely locked as this one.
What is Shad's thievery?
+9.
Oh yeah, same as mine.
Yeah, same as
I'm
mine.
rolling like hot garbage, so get Shad after it. I'll try to aid. No aid.
Physic?
Are you Shad as well?
No,
James
Shad.
Shad.
James is Shad. Yeah, I'll aid on that.
I mean,
Uh,
you can take his picks and try again if you want to do it.
I mean, it's just 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Let's see what Shad's up to.
No aid. Actually, no aid. I did aid from physic. I got a 16.
No, it's 20.
But no,
20.
it's 20.
Sorry. Then no.
23.
Shad
for
looks
Shad.
at Tulak. No, I don't think it's that. No, physic. No, I don't think it's that either. I think it's this. And he opens the second tumbler.
At this point, he would have a pretty good idea of how many tumblers
There are 2
in
more.
there.
Tulok aids on the next one with a 21. Physic, you want to get in on aid?
20? 21, sorry.
Can't quite get it.
Damn it. All right.
Bust down the
Tulok
door.
is frustrated and moves with Lady Gilda to the next door.
Don't you have a wand of knock or something?
No, I wish. I have a wand of fucking fire hose. And I've got spells, but they are hypercognition and mending. And by spells, I mean scrolls.
Right. So you could just mend Tulok's thieves' tools. Or physics thieves' tools.
Yeah.
No, always.
But also-
But I mean, it's a
sand.
scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, we that's next.
I mean, we're not beaten. We still have a set of thieves' tools. So, if Physic wants to take over, he's more than welcome.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
physic can take another shot at it.
Yeah, he was hot for 4 rolls in a row, but that's it.
That's how probability works. Okay. No chances to aid on this one now.
Yep.
No, I rolled a 14.
Sorry, my bad. I was trying to figure other ways around this. And 12, no aid.
And physic rolls a 16.
Nope.
So no.
All right, what's the deal with this middle door? Let's move on from this piece of crap.
Appears to be quiet.
Tulok avoids notice beside the door, waiting for Lady Gilda.
Still taking the defend action, she attempts to open the door.
She cracks the door. And there is a sort of cavern-ish sort of room. It's like it's been partially dug out and completed. The walls bear like telltale marks of chisels and picks. Discarded stoneworking tools lie against the unfinished walls. Although there is one pick in particular that stands out because it has a sort of gleam and shine to it as opposed to something dull. And with a quick glance, you can tell that it is a +1 striking pick. And a pick is one of those very rare weapons with the fatal trait on it, which is pretty damn cool. It means that it works like a deadly D8 or deadly D10 situation like you would see on a bow, in which you get an additional whatever D number it has. In this case, it is a D10. But a fatal versus deadly means that all of your damage die increase. So this basically is a D8 weapon. It's a 2D8 weapon, in fact, with its striking. And it has fatal D10, which means when you crit, you don't do 2D8 plus 1D10, you do 3D10.
Whoa.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What size is the weapon?
It's a just an average size. I think it's a one-handed weapon, and it is a martial though.
All right, Tulok, realizing that no one can use this, tosses it in the bag.
I'm looking at Shad's sheet.
Oh, my bad.
No. He can only use select martial weapons like a rogue can.
Oh, okay. Can I roll a nature check or something on this room? Like to try and figure out why the fuck this is here?
Yeah.
Other than to just fill out the map?
In fact, your gut tells you why is it here? Like nature, were they digging for some sort of stone? But it actually, as you look around the room, you kind of take it in and you go, oh, this seems to be starting to be carved out to be another smaller room like the rest. So the purpose seems to have been unfinished, and that it was just another room for these vaults, for these levels of this fortress. It was not to gain precious metals or anything, but rather more space.
Okay.
That's why the walls
That's good enough.
appear to be unfinished, as it were.
Right. As do the floors. Yeah, okay. Cool. Just map filler.
For sweet magic weapons.
Yeah, and then the same drill at yonder door.
All right. So you head down the hallway to the west, that single door, do your checks. Nothing to be heard, although magic is detected.
Okay. I do detect magic here,
And-
so you know the drill.
When Shad checks for traps, he says, "It may be nothing, but the door seems warm."
Okay.
But it's a wood door, so it's like
Uh,
a little bit, hard to tell.
Yeah. Okay. So Shad will move to the end of the party, take the scout action so we can all have a +1 to our initiative, and draw and load his hand crossbow.
Tulok avoids notice.
Physics just vibing. No, he he will actually load one of the.
Shining.
Yeah.
Yep.
Freeman, how long do you think it's been since we ended combat?
Well, you guys hurried out quite a bit. You took a moment to look at things, which I would say took us about 15 minutes, and exploring a little bit more, maybe another 15.
We fucked with that door for a while.
Yeah,
That's enough. I'm down to 8.
Okay.
I only need 8 minutes.
yeah. Those the door, each check only takes about a round. It's like a 2-action check. So
Yeah, 6 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. As long as it's more than 8 minutes, I'm back up to full. So Gilda will still taking the defend action.
Tulok goes prone.
Okay.
Okay.
Bold.
Wand of magic missile in his hand, up next to
Yeah.
his cheek.
Mm-hmm.
And she opens the door.
Seeing nothing happen, he pops
She
up.
cracks
from
the
prone.
door. Lady Gilda cracks the door and steps in, and the air in this room does feel blisteringly hot, although the source of the heat is not apparent. Neither the wooden barrel containing a few iron scoops nor the metal bin with a hatch-like lid seems to be the source, but the sort of metal bin is this sort of almost pseudo furnace that you can tell, or a place to dispose of things and melt them away, perhaps.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is the boiler room. Oh.
Or the crematorium.
Or this is a little tiny makeshift forge for repairing the picks and shit. Interesting. She'll lift the lid of the metal hatch and see what happens. She will gently touch the lid of the metal hatch to make sure there's no fire on the
Okay.
other side of the door.
With the back of her hand.
You
Yeah.
touch the metal hatch of this thing, and it flies open and disgorges a pair of shrieking, burning ghosts that lunge towards you all. Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.